Welcome back to the channel. Warhammer Man back in the studio, and today we're taking a look at the initial rules reveal for Maugan Ra, the Phoenix Lord of the Dark Reapers. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, and warcry rules, reactions, reviews, unboxings, and of course we are a commission-based studio and do all kinds of tutorials, show off our commissions as they leave the studio. So if you're interested in learning how to convert, paint, magnetize, or do any kind of lighting, do all kinds of videos on showing how to do that. But now let's take a look at the brand new rules. So this is our path of preview here. We've already tasted the devastating power of the avatar of khaine and felt the harsh embrace of the Harlequin's updated arsenal. Now it's time to feel the lethal whisper touch of Maugan Ra. As the founder of the Dark Reaper Aspect Shrine, the ghoulish warrior embodies the inevitability of death. Many of his victims bite the dust before they even catch sight of the macabre visage. That's kind of a shame, because Maugan Ra is dressed to kill. Just look at his new miniature and its ragged, pitch-black robes and Baroque bony armor. And obviously this miniature is absolutely fantastic. I really like the base on this. I like the pose overall. The model is absolutely amazing, loaded with detail, and an excellent embodiment of the original Maugan Ra. That is stumpy, whether you like it or not. The massive warsith is called the Mogatar and doubles as a deadly shuriken cannon that cuts down enemies with shrieking discs of wraithbone. The Phoenix Lord is known as the Harvester of Souls for a reason. Just check out the damage profile. So shooting for the Mogatar is 36-inch range, assault 6, strength 7, AP -2, damage 2. Abilities: each time an attack is made with this weapon, an unmodified roll of 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target, in addition to any normal damage. And we know, obviously, with the new rules, that you have the potential ability to do a unmodified 6 to wound using your dice that you can retain. So you could potentially do an auto mortal wound with this if you needed to finish off a target or needed to get that extra damage. So definitely something cool and worth noting, as the mortal wound proc on a 6 ability is going to be extra strong with the new rules. And then for the Mogatar in melee, it obviously has that giant blade on the front. So for its melee profile, +2 strength, -2 AP, and damage 2. With 6 shots at strength 7 plus a devastating crop of mortal wounds, Maugan Ra is the bane of elite squads and can even pose a nasty threat to enemy vehicles and monsters. And despite the Mogatar's outrageous size, this fearsome Phoenix Lord still benefits from the battle focus ability, allowing him to strike hard before fading away like a ghost. So a lot of people were trying to speculate that battle focus was not going to apply to Dark Reapers and some of these other characters or models. Obviously that is false. They were wrong. It clearly says here that he will benefit from the battle focus ability. Therefore it makes perfect sense that of course the Dark Reapers would have benefit from battle focus as well. So they will be able to do a fire and fade move. They can move from inside cover where they are you're not able to see them. They will be able to shoot, and then they will be able to battle focus, move backwards a d6 inches after shooting, back into a piece of area terrain, therefore not a valid target because you won't be able to make line of sight on them. So this will be a very, very strong ability. This fire and fade is extremely, extremely powerful. It's basically like the old school pop-up attack where you can target things but not be targeted. It will make things like indirect fire very, very powerful, as Dark Reapers and obviously Maugan Ra as well will do a ton of damage, especially when buffed up with psychic powers, and not being able to target them with a nice range, and they'll just be a pain, a thorn in anyone's side, so to speak. On top of that, this ghastly presence is so intimidating that each foe he slices down counts as 2 kills for morale purposes. The Mogatar's decapitating shurikens and foe reaping blade can force even the most courageous warriors to double check their funeral arrangements. So that's pretty good. A lot of people take into account squad size when looking at casualties. So doubling the casualties, especially on a large squad, will do a ton of extra damage during the morale phase. So Doom Incarnate, each enemy model that is destroyed by an attack made by this model counts as 2 models in the morale phase. And then next, Maugan Ra is among the most favored of Khaine's warriors, embodying the war god's nature as destroyer. Such paragons aren't easy to kill. On top of the mighty 2+ save offered by his ominous armor, he also has a 4+ invulnerable save and cannot lose more than 3 wounds in each phase. So very nice. Obviously seeing a beautiful set of rules there. Favored by Khaine, the Phoenix Lords are legendary warriors who come to the aid of Eldari at times of needs. They are formidable opponents in battle and nigh and impossible to kill. So this is a favorite of Khaine rule, and it specifically just references the Phoenix Lords. So I think it's safe to assume that all the Phoenix Lords will benefit from this rule. So that is pretty awesome. We obviously have Janzar for the Banshees, Karandis for the Scorpions, Aesherman for the Dire Avengers. We have Maugan Ra now for the Dark Reapers. We have Baharath for the Swooping Hawks. And then, who did we miss? Fugan for the Fire Dragons. So with all those Phoenix Lords, we can assume that they will get this rule, which is pretty awesome. And then hopefully new models as well. This model has a 4+ invulnerable save. This model can only lose a maximum of 3 wounds in each phase, and this model can never have a relic or warlord trait. So I have a feeling that these will have 10 models. I can't imagine these will be like bracketable, like targetable models, but we'll have to wait and see. That's just speculation, as we're like the Avatar obviously has over 10, so he can always be shot and doesn't benefit from some of these rules. It does not say here actually that all of them will have a 2+ save though. So that is interesting. That makes sense. So he will have a 2+ save. Some of the other Phoenix Lords may not benefit from that because that is not a part of this rule right here. So the 4+ invulnerable save will all the Phoenix Lords will probably have. The model cannot lose 3 wounds, more than 3 wounds in each phase, and then the model can never have a relic or warlord trait, probably just because they have their own abilities and whatnot. But they don't all get the 2+ save, so some of them may have a worse save, but he obviously does. This is still not everything. Phoenix Lords accumulate skills over the epochs as new aspect warriors take up the mantle, and the Gestalt entity known as Maugan Ra has learned plenty of tricks in his time. Your need to pick up Codex Eldari to find out what else he's capable of, and what's in store for other Phoenix Lords like Janzar. And obviously we see some Dark Reapers. They look nice. I like them. I know some people were complaining they're a little bit too plain. It's people always going to complain about something. I think they took Maugan Ra to the next level, and I think they kept the Dark Reapers pretty core, but they look nice. So I think if they would have took the Dark Reapers any further, people would be complaining about that. If they didn't do more to Maugan Ra, people would be complaining about that. So I like how they did it. They made the Phoenix Lord extra awesome looking and extravagant and more elven and less just like chunky and immobile. And then they kept the Reapers very similar, but give you the weapon options and kept the overall aesthetic looking nice. I do like them. Again, that's my opinion. Feel free to share yours down below as well. And join us tomorrow when we'll be taking a look at how you can build armies around the various Phoenix Lords. Just one of the many ways you can make use of the buffet of rules on offer in Codex Eldari. So, looks like they will have some more stuff as far as our army composition coming tomorrow. Obviously, this is very powerful. Definitely like these rules. I like that he is getting the no more than 3 damage in a single phase. That is pretty awesome. Obviously, you would think because he's a character, as long as he has 10 or less wounds, it's going to be tough to be able to shoot at him because he will probably have some people around. With the fire and fade, also, he'll be able to strategically move after firing. So that is going to make him very durable as well. And then obviously, he is pretty capable in combat. Based on what we're seeing here stat-wise, I suspect he will probably be Strength 5 base. So the Mogatar should give him Strength 7. I don't think he'll be Strength 8. I think that would be just slightly too good because he's really not like a combat-focused Phoenix Lord in the same way some of the others are. But I really do like him. I think they're kind of blowing out of proportion how great his mortal wound ability is. They act like he's going to be just like dishing out tons and tons of mortal wounds. In all reality, each time an attack is made with this weapon, an unmodified wound roll of 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound. Maybe he has some sort of exploding hit rule or something like that from a skill or a trait or something like that. But with 6 shots, assuming he hits with all of them, which he will probably hit on a 2, 1/6 is probable to wound. So he's probably going to do 1 mortal wound. So it's not like he's going to be just like puking out mortal wounds all over your army. I think that's kind of funny. But who knows? Maybe there'll be some kind of like, strategic or stratagem or psychic powers or something like that we're not seeing that goes in line with this that they know about. But as far as we can see here so far, we're talking like 1 mortal wound in the phase. So maybe use one of your strands of fate dice to make an auto 6 to wound, and then maybe roll another 6 to wound probability wise. So you end up with like 2 mortal wounds, but it's not like this dude's going to be dishing out like 10 mortal wounds in a phase or anything crazy. So that's it for Maugan Ra. Just wanted to take a quick look. He looks great. The rules look awesome. The avatar looks great. All the models so far look great. Very happy to see all new plastics. So that's it for today. Let me know what you think. Are you going to be rocking this dude out? Now that we know for a fact that he will benefit from the new rules for like the fire and fade and stuff like that, does that make this extra awesome to you? I know there was a couple people in the comments saying that the Reapers weren't going to get it, etc. They were clearly wrong. I obviously read into what they're saying. You can see a lot of times the way things are worded, the Games Workshop hints or implies or slips up on some things, and it was very clear who was and was not going to be able to get these various rules. So we can see here pretty clearly that this is going to be like an army-wide rule now, because if a character is getting it, if we know that your basic troopers and stuff are getting it, that pretty much means that everyone, possibly with the exception of like monstrous creatures and vehicles, will be getting that rule. So that is definitely awesome. Looking forward to that for sure. I think the strongest part of that rule is going to be the after shooting move part, because the ability to get into position, fire at someone, and then strategically redeploy in the same phase is very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. To be able to target something and then not be targetable is huge. Yeah, and then obviously the advancing and firing thing is great as well, but you could already do that with like assault weapons. It just basically added in pistols and I believe took away like the -1. So again, still nice, going to be good for certain units like Dire Avengers or Storm Guardians and stuff like that, but the real power in these armies, typically, especially with like previous Eldar editions and renditions, we saw when Eldar was on top of its absolute game, that the flying psychers, like the flyers that have psychic powers, were one of the strongest units. The Dark Reapers doing, basically just a bunch of damage from a decent range away using like the Reaper launcher and a bunch of like psychic buffs for hitting, wounding, etc. And then obviously we saw like Yvrain and the ability to essentially do things out of turn order or game order is what like really made them top tier in the like last time they were really good. So if we still see the psychic planes and they are still good, which we know Eldar has some of the strongest psychic powers, we still see that they're doing with like strands of fate the abilities to essentially go above and beyond, take like the randomness out of it and get like auto 6s on various things. And then of course now we're seeing things like this fire and fade ability allow you to basically do things out of game turn, because being able to get that second move after you shoot is huge. So I think a lot of the strengths of Eldari are coming back or going to be stronger than ever. So what I see so far, we obviously don't know what the points are going to look like or whatever, but the way that the power creep is, the way that these look, and the fact that they are powerful in every phase of the game, both, they're great at movement, they are great at shooting, they are great at combat, and obviously great at psychic as well. And overall, not very durable because of low toughness and mediocre armor saves, but they have some durable units and the ability to buff with psychic powers. I think Eldar are going to be top tier. I foresee Eldar being a top tier list. They're going to dominate the meta, and we're going to see a lot of new Space Elf players, I think. Some of the units obviously probably are not going to be great, but overall, from what we have seen so far, absolutely amazing. I'm not convinced that the Avatar is going to be just some amazing unit that everyone takes and just like tromps around and just destroys Titans at will. I think for the most part, a lot of these big single monster units are not all they're cracked up to be. Now, if he has something like he can only take 3 wounds in a single phase, that will change the game a little bit. Similar to like Gazkul, where you can only make it rain on him so much. But but he's not like Primarch style. He's not a Mortarion. He is not a Magnus. He's not even a Guilliman from what we've seen so far. So maybe there will be more rules that change that. He'll have some sweet aura abilities. Maybe he will have something that stops him from taking more than 3 wounds in a phase. But until we see something like that, I haven't seen anything that's like game breaking on the avatar. I think units or models like Maugan Ra are going to be the pinnacle. And then obviously the Psychers. They are really going to make this list. So I can already tell from what I've seen, Dark Reapers are going to be a thing. They're going to be absolutely phenomenal. I would expect most lists to probably have 2 units of like 5 or 6 nice chunky units of Reapers. And I have a feeling that this bro is going to be showing up as well. But we'll wait and see. We'll see how it all goes. We'll see what the buffs are. We'll see what the traits and all the other relics and all that stuff is. But so far what I'm seeing, I'm absolutely loving. I am an original OG Eldar player. They were my first army. They're actually what got me into Warhammer way back in the day. Got me in during like the Road Trader days, and then I got into Quest and Space Hulk and Fantasy and everything from then. So in many ways, the Eldar are literally what brought me into this hobby, and I have been years without an Eldar army and just itching and scratching to build one. Again, for old time's sake, almost did with the release of the Banshees, but just never quite pulled the trigger. And I think I know for a fact, this is the final straw. I will definitely be getting an Eldar army. So you will get to see me building and painting and converting and magnetizing and basing along the way. I will make sure to make tons of tutorials and show off everything as we go. So if you care to join that journey with me and you want to get down with the space elves, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Oh, and also obviously we saw the new Corsairs, and they look absolutely phenomenal as well. These models are amazing. I'm not sure how great they will be in 40k terms, but definitely looking forward to them on the kill team battlefield, and obviously the models are phenomenal. So that's it for today. Let me know what you think. Always like hearing your guys' opinions. So much positivity from the community. You guys are freaking awesome. Thank you, each and every one of you, all the new subscribers, all the likes, all the shares, all the positive comments and everything down below. Let me know what you think of the models, of the rules, what you're planning on putting in the army. What is the most exciting unit to you? Are you ready to just throw your Space Marines in the trash, or give up on your orcs or necrons or whoever else and just go all in on the space elves? Or is this just going to be one more army that you add to the arsenal? But that's it for today, Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.